Great. We'll make a start. There'll probably be a few more people joining as we go, but I think yeah, it's a good point to get started. Next slide, please, AJ. Right. So this morning, the is being recorded, so we'll share the recording as well. We're likely to sort of what we often do is sort of edit the Q&A section out because we don't want people to feel shy about asking questions. But we're going to give you an intro to sort of who we are. We're then going to go through some of the basics around apprenticeships, so you've got a clear understanding of what apprenticeships are, because we know people often come here with different ideas around what apprenticeships might be. So we want to really sort of set that out from the start. We're then going to talk about some of the free support of funding that's available through the Central London Forward programme that we're working on. And then there's an opportunity for you to ask any questions you want to around apprenticeships. And it's a really good chance to just anything, no matter how small, to ask, because if you're thinking it, there's chances are someone else is also thinking that in the room as well. As you go along, if you've got something that pops into your head that you want to get, you can put that into the Q&A as well, because we'll also ask those. But like I said, there will be a chance for us to talk afterwards. Next slide, please, AJ. So this piece of work, this project is being funded by Central London Forward. So Central London Forward are a collection of local authorities around central London, which most of the businesses will be based. And it's part of something that the government's pulled together called the Local Skills Improvement Plan, the LSIP. So yeah, all the local councils are working towards improving the quality of skills across the boroughs. Next slide, please, AJ. And yeah, work well. So who are we? We're a small charity. There's just 6 of us. We were set up back in 2019 off the back of a bit of research that think tank IPPR pulled together around why apprenticeships particularly weren't moving at the time, why lots of small businesses weren't engaging like they used to, why lots of apprenticeship levy was accruing. IPPR got some funding from the mayor and from JP Morgan and created a pilot project called London Progression Collaboration, which then, after a successful pilot, sort of morphed into Workwhile. We started off with the goal of sort of supporting, getting apprenticeships moving in London, but as over the years, as we've worked with a large number of small businesses, we've sort of, I guess, taken a step back and thought, actually, we don't just want to chase a number of apprentices in our work. We really want to be impactful, ensure that good quality work is available to all, so that we're helping to create apprenticeships, but also help ensure that they're really good quality apprenticeships, which is basically the best outcome for businesses and employees. We see that there's talent everywhere, and not everyone has access to good work, and we believe that everybody can benefit from an equitable world of work. AJ, could you flip on to the next slide, please? So so as I mentioned, we started off focusing on apprenticeship creation, and we do still focus an awful lot around apprenticeships, and we provide practical support. We help with sharing levy, and we are really the experts, the sort of independent experts in London. We've also developed a few other interventions to support that work. So we've got line manager training that we've developed, and then we're quite often called upon to provide consultancy for large organisations or projects. So actually, this piece of work was something that the local authorities around central London called upon us to support with. So that's an example of that. Next slide, please, AJ. So this slide's just showing off a little bit, really. So and just hopefully giving you a bit of assurance that you're talking to some people who got some skin in the game. We know what we're doing. So we have we've affected over 2,000 people's working lives since we started, through over 500 small businesses now. Our work has been quoted in Parliament. The OECD report a couple of years ago quoted us as a real example of best practice. So we've got a lot of experience, and we're really keen to sort of share that with as many businesses as possible. Next, please, AJ. And particularly in health and social care, we've supported just over 400 apprentices. And yeah, perhaps something that might be quite important to you guys is we've shared £2.3 million worth of levy to pay for the training for those health and social care apprentices. Next slide, please, AJ.
So this is the first interactive element of this session. What I would like everyone to do, if you could get your phones out and scan the QR code on the far left, and hopefully it should pop up in your browser with a Slido website. For those that are familiar with it, you should know what to do. You'll be pretty familiar with it. For those that are not, you will be presented with a field where you can type in some words. And what this page will do, it will populate a word cloud for those that may be familiar with it. But essentially, what I would like you to do is thinking about what an apprenticeship is. What comes to your minds? What's the first things that come to your mind? I'd like you to enter some of those words as they come through. So I can see we've got two people typing right now. So please do scan it, the QR code, hopefully. For those that are having trouble with the QR code, if you open up your browser and type in slido.com, and then it will ask you for those digits there, and that will be another way of them connecting you to this word cloud. But we've had a few people send in some keywords. So yeah, so essentially it's a way of training your staff, especially within the health and social care space. Training is important, but also it allows you to, I guess, essentially skill people up for the jobs that they need to do, and help with that progression piece as they kind of progress in their careers. Yes, it's a training opportunity. Many people do seek these opportunities. Some may not necessarily be able to afford it, and I guess an apprenticeship is a quite cost-effective way of learning and earn as you work at the same time. So it's paid training, and you're doing a day job as well. Yes, you can use it as a way of upskilling existing staff as well to kind of help with promotion and progression within the workplace. And yes, essentially, training for new training for staff on the job. Essentially, yeah, I guess it's while they're in post, it'll be good to have a mentor to kind of coach and support them along that journey as well. Feel like I'll move on to the next slide now. So what is an apprenticeship? Shall I cover this one off, Rob? Yeah, might as well. Yeah, so what is an apprenticeship? Essentially, the best way we tend to describe this is it's a job with structured formal training. It's essentially designed to be a full-time opportunity, 30+ hours. There are occasions where it can be part-time, but it's all very dependent on the training provider that's able to offer it. You do pay the apprentice pretty much the same as what a regular employee you would pay within that business, and benefits, it's no different to any other employee, pension, health insurance, or whatever it may be within your organization. Retention is a big challenge within any industry, so we always recommend paying a fair wage, a London living wage, especially for people that live in London and during this current economic situation that we find ourselves in. The wording for this next bit, let's just say the off-the-job learning aspect of the apprenticeship. At least a minimum of 6 hours a week needs to be spent on off-job learning, and again, that's a discussion to have with your training providers to really understand how and what that looks like and what that would look like within your businesses. Again, everything, all the apprenticeships have a very clear training syllabus, which is assessed. It's reviewed by the providers, and essentially, all your apprentices will be working towards their endpoint assessment. Um, this can be offered to new or existing staff. It doesn't really matter. It's all dependent on what your needs are as a business. Is it about attracting new talent to your business, new recruits, or is it about progressing staff and moving them forward and giving them the skills that they need to be able to, do those roles as they evolve or develop with your businesses? And again, apprenticeships pretty much start at a level 2 and go right up to a master's level 7. But I will add that will come to an end in the new year with some recent changes in funding and guidance rules, and there will be a fair few more that will be due. But again, we're in the transitional phase. As that information rolls out, you'll be, I guess, updated for your current training providers. And essentially, every apprentice that enrolls on a program are independently assessed by an endpoint assessment organisation. Again, beginning of next year, we'll start to see some changes with that as well.
Cool. So I talk about the benefits, AJ.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as you can see on the screen, there's tons of benefits to employing apprentices, and I just want to, I guess, reflect on a few that we've seen over the years that have been, particularly useful, and where we've seen some really interesting stories. So something we've really seen a benefit across, pretty much across the board, actually, apprenticeships across sectors, and in health and social care particularly, is the fact that they can help to reduce staff turnover. So you tend to get staff who sort of come in on an apprenticeship, or have already been in, and you put them on an apprenticeship, and they start to feel a bit more valued and feel like you're investing in them to learn. We've seen in some situations where that the apprenticeships have really sort of helped to improve productivity, as they're out there learning the very sort of latest thinking around the roles they're in, and they're able to come back into the working environment and put those sorts of things into practice. I mean, it's a different sector, but something that I always sort of talk about when I think about that sort of improved productivity and increased morale is where we've supported hospitality apprenticeships in a hotel in Victoria, and the housekeeping team were put on an apprenticeship, and they were all coming back from their training really sort of fired up, really excited to put what they've learned into practice. And the retention just sort of went through the roof there. We've seen similar stories in health and social care as well. Something that also can be a benefit of publicly offering, promoting apprenticeships, is that you can start to attract better staff who want to be developed and want to learn. And then finally, the final point I want to talk about on this slide is that fact, that it's a really great chance to create a talent pipeline. So if you've got somebody who's been in the organisation for a little while, that you can see a bit of, a spark of talent in, or someone that you think actually, this person's reaching that sort of time where they might start thinking of moving on, because everyone seems to move on at that point, you can retain them using an apprenticeship. Get them to think about what that next step at your organisation might be. Keep that knowledge, that good, those good skills in the organisation by sort of promoting them through an apprenticeship. And I guess the thing with an apprenticeship is you're building them up to be at that level that you want to be. So that they'll be improving each week as they're learning that, and then the role they're in, somebody else can fill that, and it creates a nice sort of environment where people are seeing progression, they're seeing value in staying in the organisation and growing. Next slide, please, AJ. So, as you saw, we've worked with quite a decent number of health and social care providers, and there's a few considerations, a few things that we've seen over the years that I think are worth talking about and considerations. So, as we know, I think in London, there's about a third of health and social care workers are from overseas. which is higher than some, the many sectors across the capital. Um, we've seen in the past where candidates haven't been able to prove their maths and English qualifications, that they've struggled to get on to apprenticeships. And you may well have experienced that yourselves, but there's been some recent reforms around apprenticeships, and actually apprentices over the age of 19. There's no longer the requirement for them to prove those functional skills. So as long as you're happy, as an employer, that they're capable, that they should be able to take on that apprenticeship. Of course, if you feel that it's important for them to have those functional skills, you can still have that as a requirement. But I think we've seen over the years, really enthusiastic employers wanting to put a lot of apprentices on, and then suddenly that number of apprentices has been cut down because of that functional skills requirement. So I think a bit of good news is that is no longer as much of an issue as it perhaps was before. In the funding rules, workers from overseas must have 3 years residency before they're able to undertake an apprenticeship. However, refugees with the right to work are exempt from that 3-year residency rule. We've recently been doing a few projects around refugees and apprenticeships, and it's actually a bit of knowledge that a lot of people don't know, actually, because it's buried quite far in the funding rules, pages 124 to 126. But a lot of health and social care providers do know about the 3-year residency rules, and they may have refugee workers on their books who they might not be putting forward for apprenticeships. It's an important thing to know that yes, you can put those people onto an apprenticeship. There's a bit more detail on the rules, and I think that'll be something perhaps to discuss with your training provider, just so everyone's happy that they've got the correct status. But there's a few different statuses, and it's all about having that right to work and that sort of leave to remain. AJ?
So we've kind of covered off a bit around what an apprenticeship is and some of the eligibility elements. But the next slide I would like to run with you. So again, if you could scan the QR code or bring up the website itself for a browser. What I would like you to think about is what support do you need with apprenticeships? When you think about, right, I've got my first apprentice or my second or my third, or you're on your 100th apprentice in the workplace. What is it that you feel that would actually help with that situation? What support do you need with having an apprentice within the workplace? Thinking about, yes, I guess funding is probably one aspect. How having that 5% contribution can add up over time. What other support do you feel that you would need while having an apprentice? Thinking about the support structure. This one's a good one. To support with duties assigned. So I guess if they're fairly new in role or post or to the business, how do you map out what duties you would want to assign to them? What do you start off with? Straight into the deep end kind of expression, or do you give them something quite manageable and light load and help them build capacity within the workplace? Helping balance the work and learning. Yes, that can be quite a challenge. Not everyone is able to manage that, and let's think about the other element. We all think about work and life balance. This has probably got a third component to that situation. How do they manage their learning? It may not necessarily be just 1 day a week, which is off the job learning, and it could be broken up into smaller pieces throughout the week. Anything else from anyone else? No? Okay. I'll move on to the next slide. So, shall I cover this, Rob? Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool. So with the Skills for the Central London Health and Social Care project, As part of the support you would receive through us, we would help you with a levy transfer, which essentially will cover the full cost of your apprentices training, whether that be for one or a dozen apprentices. We tap into a large network of large levy paying organisations that want to support businesses across different sectors, and we have a fair few that are quite keen to support the health and social care sector. So that's one component, but I guess the other element is around the support that we provide to small businesses. We truly do offer impartial, free support and guidance around, navigating this apprenticeship space, and that could be anything from, helping you set up your digital apprenticeship service account through to being, helping you understand how you can better manage your account, through to, taking you through the steps in how you actually access the levy transfer and cover the full cost, of your apprentices training. Alongside with that, something that's allowed us to innovate and provide, additional support, but also, think creatively in how we can support businesses. We've gone on to design a good work health check consultancy meeting, which essentially is there to kind of help you understand what the quality of good work looks like within your workplace. And over the past few years of us delivering this, sometimes small businesses may not necessarily take the opportunity to step back and reflect on what they're actually doing well within the workplace. So we're offering this for free. And also we're here to kind of help you create those, I guess you could think about it as those ideal conditions that are, that's going to allow your apprentices to thrive and succeed within the workplace. So, we can help you with, free access to our developmental line management training program, and as well the Good Work health check consultancy meeting as well. And when I say, free support, to kind of break that down in a bit more detail, we can, give you advice and guidance on anything around, the whole apprentice or the apprenticeship journey, whether that be exploring, what other apprenticeships exist in this landscape to kind of help with attracting new talent into your business, or just upskilling existing staff to help with retention and reward them with progression opportunities. But more importantly, we do offer that practical support around your digital apprenticeship service account. We'll help you get access to the funding. We tend to turn these opportunities around on a week-to-week basis. So, we'll always have support in place for you. And in addition to that, you'll have access to our resources depending on, what your needs are, but more importantly, to help you feel more confident in not just understanding the world of apprenticeships, but also help you make those informed choices and understand what that really means for, your organizations. And when we talk about, getting started, as I described earlier, helping you set up your digital apprenticeship service account, what's actually involved. I'll be honest, I've lost track how many of these I've set up over the years, but it doesn't need to be that complicated. As long as you have the information up front and ready to, take ownership of this. Probably takes you best part of 10 to 20 minutes to set up an account, as long as you have all the information in place. I guess things for you to consider: who's going to own the account, in the sense of, from a login perspective, who else do you want to have access to it? And, is there any other way in trying to deal with this? I say yes and no. The other way is, give access to other colleagues to share the responsibility of managing this account, and probably no to, I'll leave that with the training provider to deal with. Training providers don't have visibility of what your account looks like, but more importantly, they can help you navigate this process. And there are some providers out there that do a wonderful job with this and supporting you with this journey, and then there are some training providers out there that will leave it in your hands because it's your ownership with this account. But it's mixed reviews out there. talking a bit more about our developmental line management program. So essentially, it's a free training program. We're funded through Trust for London to offer this to SMEs pan London. But with that in mind, it's practical content that we're sharing with you, that we're delivering during these sessions, and it's content that the moment that you jump off those online sessions, you're able to apply it within the workplace. So essentially, I will highlight it's not accredited. But what it is that, you've got no essays to complete, you've got no assessments, no tests, no nothing. All you've got is sit, tune in, and sponge in that knowledge and that information and think about how you can apply it within the workplace. We deliver this essentially across 4 sessions or 4 90-minute sessions online. And we also provide an hour's coaching session post training to ensure that you're able to revisit what you've learned, but also how you can apply it if you're finding some challenges within the workplace. Essentially a safe space to kind of revisit the process and help you engage with what you've learned. This program is essentially it's suitable for those line managers that oversee the apprentices, but more importantly are busy. 90 minutes spaced out across 4 weeks to learn something for free. It's not a big ask, but more importantly, the way we've designed this program, it's aimed at pretty much most of those frontline sectors that we're aiming to support with how they support their apprentices, and ultimately how we came about designing this, it's all evidence-based. Plenty of research went into the design of this program, and understanding how we kind of motivate and lead successful teams, and more importantly the apprentices. Ultimately we want to be able to support you with improving your staff performance within the workplace, help you with retention, and more importantly productivity of those apprentices as they progress throughout their program.
We have also delivered to health and social care providers previously. So we did a bit of work with our colleagues in South East London or South London, and delivered a cohort of, I think it was about 30 health and social care providers who attended that session, and some really good feedback from that. I think we're at the stage where we're just booking in the coaching calls with them, which is, I think, a fantastic opportunity to sort of help people to ensure that they're embedding that learning and sort of troubleshoot any issues that they've had with the learning.
Okay. And just coming back to the mention of the Good Work Health Check consultancy meeting, essentially it's a 6-point check around your organization's company principles, covering off 4 areas of good work, which essentially is fair pay, health and well-being, diversity and inclusion, and skills and progression. And through running through a series of questions, we help benchmark your organization around what the quality of good work looks like within the workplace. Over the past few years where I've conducted a fair few of these, what I've realized is small businesses do quite a bit around improving on the quality of what work looks like within their environments, and more importantly how it shapes their culture. What's great to hear and see is some of the innovative things that they come up with to kind of overcome the cost element of their organizations, because I understand not everyone can invest heavily in salaries through to the quality of work. We think about large organizations that are able to provide all these additional benefits, but from a small business owner's perspective, there's plenty more they can do, and they do tend to innovate. So we want to be able to recognize that, but also share that wealth of insight and knowledge with other businesses so others can create good working environments as well. We do also, as a way of a follow-up, share and signpost information and resources to free tools that are available online, that they may want to consider. There's no mandatory aspect of it that they need to apply it, but it's something for consideration around how they could probably step it up a little bit within the workplace in improving. If I, for example, talk about health and well-being, what could they do around improving, the quality of people's lives through, health and well-being, initiatives or services or benefits or wherever that may be. But ultimately, we're here to support the business to understand, what else they could be doing to kind of help improve on that and keep it fresh and new, within their businesses.
I think something also that's worth noting as well is based on the conversation, you'll get a bespoke report, and what that'll give you is the sort of next step on how to improve. So we're not sort of saying, right, you really need to be right up here and giving you something a bit quite far off where you are and a bit scary. It's like here's how to just incrementally improve. So you can make some really small changes and improvements and actually have a really big impact on how your staff are performing and feeling from that.
Yeah. So eligibility for I say this program, essentially it's open up to all health and social care organisations that hire apprentices across these boroughs. We'll add, if you do find yourself sitting just out of those boroughs, we can pick up a separate conversation, but in essence, we can still support you. But this is where we've got more of a targeted focus around supporting businesses as part of the LSIP, Central London Forward project.
The project is the project is funded by Central London Forward, finishes in September, but we're still able to provide a lot of this support afterwards, sort of drawing down on other bits of funding that we've got.
And that brings me to the end. So I guess I'll put it out to everyone. Any questions from the audience?